Hello everyone. So in this class there will be a brief introduction to endocrine system. At the end of the class, students should be able to appreciate the importance of learning endocrine physiology in understanding medicine, name the endocrine glands, name the hormones secreted from each gland, mention the major function of each gland and hormone, classify hormones and give example for each category. Learn the principles of hormone synthesis. List the pathway of hormone synthesis. Name hormone signaling system and their mechanism of operation. And what are the different types of intercellular communication? Outline their mechanism and give examples for each. Know the physiological importance of binding hormones to plasma proteins. The different methods of hormone estimation, different types of hormone action, different mechanism of regulation of hormone secretion, and describe the feedback control of hormone secretion. And in the mechanism of action, they should be able to understand the concept of receptor upregulation and downregulation, appreciate the role of G proteins in hormone action, name the types of G proteins and their mechanism of action, name few G protein diseases, list the signal transduction pathway, and name the second messenger in each pathway. Name important hormones that acts through different second messengers. Describe the mechanism of hormone action via adenyl cyclase, cyclic AMP system, and membrane phospholipid phospholipase system, and transcription of mRNA system. And give a note on uh, cyclic AMP system, tyrosine kinase system, and calcium colmodulin system. Endocrine physiology is a branch of physiology that deals with a study of process involved in the regulation and integration of cells and organ system by specialized chemical substance called hormones. The word hormone derived from hormone, a Greek word which means to excite. So these are some of the major endocrine glands which are there in our body: hypothalamus, pituitary anterior and posterior, thyroid, adrenal gland which includes adrenal cortex and medulla, parathyroid gland, endocrine pancreas, gonads which includes testis and ovary, pineal gland. The other endocrine glands include thymus, kidney, heart, lungs, GI tract, and the placenta. So these are the locations of some of the important endocrine glands. That is the hypothalamus, pineal gland, pituitary gland, which is uh, situated in the sella turcica. In the neck, we have thyroid and parathyroid glands. We have adrenal glands over the renal tissue, endocrine pancreas, kidney, small intestine, ovaries or testis. So these are some of the endocrine glands which to enumerate, and the hormones secreted by them. Hypothalamus, it is going to release the most of the release or inhibiting hormones. Anterior pituitary secretes growth hormone, TSH, ACTH, LS and FSH, whereas posterior pituitary produces ADH and oxytocin. Thyroid produces T3 and T4. Adrenal cortex produces cortisol and aldosterone. Adrenal medulla produces catecholamines. Pancreas, insulin, and other hormones. Parathyroid gland produces parathormone. Testis produces testosterone. Ovaries, estrogen and progesterone. Kidney produces renin, erythropoietin, and adipocytes produces leptin. And the GI tract produces the GI hormones. So before that, we'll learn about what is hormone signaling. The chemical signaling of hormone occurs through three important pathways, that is endocrine pathway, paracrine, and autocrine pathway. So endocrine means the hormone secreted is elsewhere and it is going to affect on the receptors on the distant organs. Whereas paracrine signaling is hormone secreted from endocrine tissue diffuses into extracellular space and signals the neighboring tissue. So this is called as paracrine signaling. For example, somatostatin secreted from D cells of pancreatic islet influences the secretion of insulin and glucagon from the same islet cells. Autocrine signaling is where the hormone secreted from an endocrine cells binds with a receptor located in the same cell that secretes the hormone. Okay. So, so here, the picture showing autocrine and paracrine uh, signaling. So the hormone which is secreted from the endocrine gland, if it acts on the neighboring cell, it is called as paracrine signaling. If it acts on the same cell secreting hormone is called as autocrine signaling. Intracellular communication. Cells communicate with each other by five major mechanisms: direct, neural, endocrine, paracrine, and neurocrine. Direct communication occurs between cell via gap junction, that is electrical synapses, is called as direct communication. So example is a rapid transmission of the impulse between cardiac myocytes via these gap junctions. Neural communication is the major mechanism of intercellular communication. Examples are neurons communicating through the synapses. Endocrine, paracrine, and autocrine communications are described above as in hormone signaling, and juxtacrine communication is the communication through the cell adhesion to the growth factors expressed on cell surface. So these are the examples of intracellular communication. So direct communication occurs through the gap junctions between the cells. Neural communication examples are synapses. Endocrine communication occurs through the hormones. Paracrine through the hormones to the neighboring cells. Autocrine via hormone to the same cell. Juxtacrine communication is through the growth receptors expressed on the cell surface, whereas neurocrine through the chemicals released at the nerve terminals. Coming to regulation of the hormone secretion, the alteration in the hormone concentration is mainly checked by regulation of hormone secretion. The hormone secretion is principally controlled by four mechanisms, that is feedback control, neural control, rhythmic or chronotropic control, or the humoral control. Okay. So this is how through simple feedback mechanism the hormone secretion is regulated. Endocrine, which produces a hormone, acts on the target organs. Biological effects, or they are going to in turn control the activity of the endocrine gland, is called as simple feedback mechanism. Whereas it can be uh, a long loop mechanism or short loop mechanism or ultra short loop mechanism. Okay. So when the hormone, themselves, they're going to inhibit the production of the releasing hormone or the tropic hormone from the anterior pituitary, they're called as long loop negative feedback mechanism. When the tropic hormone inhibits the synthesis of the hypothalamic secretion, it's called as short loop negative feedback mechanism. When hypothalamic releasing hormone or inhibiting hormone itself regulates the release from the hypothalamus, it is called as ultra short loop mechanism, feedback mechanism. So hormone, to exert their effects on tissues, they have to bind with the specific receptors located on the target cells. The receptors may be present on the surface of the cell, in the cytoplasm or the nucleus of the cell. The binding hormone with the receptor that forms the hormone receptor complex, that is called as HR complex, activates the series of signal generating mechanisms via cascade of enzymatic reaction in the target cell. The peptide hormones bind to the cell surface receptors and activate series of intercellular signal transduction systems. Receptors located on the membrane are usually large glycoproteins with a molecular weight around 50,000 to 2 lakh Daltons. They usually span the membrane 7 times. Following binding of hormone with the receptor, HR complex is formed, which is internalized by the endocytosis. Inside the cell, the HR complex is degraded by lysosomal enzymes. Usually, the receptor molecule is recycled back to the cell membrane. However, degradation of receptor within the cell is not uncommon. Mutation of these receptor produces receptor diseases. G proteins. Peptide hormones, with the exception of insulin like growth factor IGF-1 and IGF-2, usually circulate freely as they do not have binding proteins for them in the plasma. They bind with the surface receptor on the target cells. Receptors are coupled with G proteins in the cell membrane. G proteins belong to several families of intrinsic membrane proteins that link the receptors to the nearby effector molecules in the membrane. Also, there are different subunits of each family of G proteins. In fact, a specific subunit of G protein of a family relay specific signal from the receptor to the effectors that are usually specific ion channels or enzymes. The GTP protein complex influences the subsequent signal transduction that results in generation of mini intracellular signals which mediate physiological effect of the hormone. Okay, so this is the functioning of G protein, where uh, hormone receptor signals activates the G protein. The alpha subunits, helps in conversion of GDP into GTP. So GTP acts as a intracellular signal transduction, which is going to exert biological effect. Okay, so this is mechanism by which, okay, when hormone attaches to the receptor, okay, so alpha get detaches from the gamma and beta unit. Okay, so with the attached GTP, okay, so it is going to exert its biological effect. Okay, so this is the structure of typical G protein coupled receptor. Types of G proteins. Broadly, the G proteins are classified into two categories based on their molecular size, that is small G proteins and large G proteins. Small G proteins there are 6 different subfamilies. The major categories among are RAB, RAC and RAS families. A number of small G proteins contain lipid modification that help them to adhere to membranes, whereas small G proteins diffuse throughout the cytosol. Functions of these small G proteins is these regulate many cellular activities. The RAF family regulates the rate of vesicle movement between cell organelles and cell membrane. The Rho or RAC family mediates interaction between cytoskeleton and the cell membrane. The RAS family controls the growth by regulating transmission of signals from cell membrane to the nucleus. Large G proteins are the membrane proteins coupled to the receptors. So presently there are 5 families of large proteins have been discovered as GS stimulatory, GI inhibitory, GT, GQ and G13. In addition, there are 3 genes for G proteins, 20A, 6 beta and 20G genes. Therefore, a large number of subunits of G protein families are produced. Usually G proteins are trimeric proteins consisting of 3 subunits. Therefore, they are called as heteromeric G proteins. The subunits are called as alpha, beta and gamma subunits. Normally, a subunit is bound to GDP. When HR complex binds to G protein coupled receptors, GDP is exchanged for GTP and a subunit is separated from beta and gamma subunits of the G protein. So this separation of subunits from beta gamma subunits bring about the physiological activities. The beta gamma subunits do not separate from each other. The subunit has intrinsic GTPase activity that converts GTP into GDP. So this results in reassociation of subunit with beta and gamma subunits of G protein. The GTPase activity of a subunit can be facilitated by regulators of G protein signaling. So this is the mechanism by which G proteins get activated when hormone binds to receptor. Okay, so the GDP gets converted into GTP, and the alpha subunit gets separated from the beta and gamma subunit. Okay, and this alpha subunit helps in the signal transduction, which is ultimately going to exert the physiological effects. The G protein coupled receptors are membrane proteins that span membrane 7 times. Hence, they are called as serpentine receptors. That is 7 helix receptors. A large number of GPCR have been cloned recently and they have many diverse functions. When ligand binds to GPCR, conformational change occurs in GPCR that activates large G protein attached to the cytoplasmic surface of the cell membrane. Activation of single GPCR can lead to activation of multiple large G proteins that transduces and amplifies the action of first messenger. Signal transduction pathway. In general, the process of second messenger formation broadly categorized into 4 types. That is activation of the ion channels, activation of G proteins, activation of intercellular or membrane enzymes, activation of transcription process. So these are the broad mechanisms, and that brings the different changes in the cell function. Okay, so that can be opening or closure of the ion channels, or it can be activation of the G proteins. Okay, so it may be via adenyl cyclase pathway or phospholipase C pathway or cyclic JMP pathway, or there can be activation of intercellular or membrane enzymes, that is via tyrosine kinase or serine or threonine kinase, or it can be via nuclear receptors through mRNA transcription. Okay, so usually steroids and thyroid hormones acts through these mechanisms. Adenyl cyclase, that is cyclic AMP system. Cyclic adenosine monophosphate, that is cyclic AMP, is an important second messenger for the mini peptides and amine hormones. It is also called as it also causes lymphocyte activation and mast cell degranulation. Formation of cyclic AMP and alteration in cell functions by it involve a series of events following interaction of hormone with the receptor on the cell membrane. Okay, so this is the mechanism by which the adenyl cyclase going to act. Okay, so which converts the ATP into cyclic AMP, and cyclic AMP in turn going to convert inactive protein kinase A into active protein kinase A. So that is going to lead to phosphorylation of cellular enzymes, synthesis of phosphoproteins. So that is going to exert the physiological effect. Okay. So cyclic AMP can also involved in transcription of the genes and protein synthesis. So these are some of the important hormones act by altering the cyclic AMP concentration in the cell. Okay, so the hormones which act by increasing in the cyclic AMP formation are GHRH, CRH, gonadotropin releasing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, norepinephrine, ADH, and the hormones that act by inhibiting the cyclic AMP formation are norepinephrine via alpha 2 receptor and somatostatin. So this is an important system for transduction of hormone signals into physiological activities. So in this system, binding of a hormone with the receptor initiates the following cascade of reaction. So the hormone binding with the receptors results in the hormone receptor complex. So the hormone activates G alpha Q. G alpha Q activates the membrane enzyme phospholipase C, and phospholipase C B1 or B2 or beta 2 causes hydrolysis of phosphatidyl inositol 4,5 biphosphonate, that is PIP2, that generates two important signal molecules, that is inositol 1,4 5 triphosphate and diacyl glycerol, that is DAG. The increased protein kinase C activity activates many intracellular enzymes that bring about the change in the cell function. Okay, so that is how membrane phospholipid system is going to act on the cells. Okay, so G protein is going to activate the phospholipase C, okay, so which is going to convert PIP2 into DAG and IP3. Okay, so these are going to in turn cause activation of the protein kinase C, and they're going to exert their cellular response. Okay, so this is another picture showing its mechanism. So the phospholipase C gets converted into PIP2. PIP2 in turn gets converted into IP3 or DAG. So IP3 increases the calcium levels. Okay, so that is going to affect the physiological effects, whereas DAG, it is going to increase the protein kinase C activity. So that is going to ultimately exert the physiological effects. Guanylyl cycle is a cyclic GMP system. So cyclic guanosine monophosphate, that is cyclic GMP, is another important cyclic nucleotide that acts as a second messenger for the peptide hormone action. Binding of hormone with the receptor initiates cascade of events. The hormone binds with the receptor on the surface of the cell. The HR complex activates the guanylyl cyclase in the membrane. The guanylyl cyclase converts cytoplasmic guanosine triphosphate, that is GTP, into cyclic GMP. The cyclic GMP activates the cyclic GMP dependent kinases and phosphatases that cause phosphorylation of different intracellular proteins. Okay. Cyclic GMP also directly opens the ion channels. In rods and cones, cyclic GMP operated mechanism mediate the physiological effects. Okay, so this is the mechanism by which the cyclic GMP, it is going to cause the physiological effect where the GTP gets converted into cyclic GMP, and they are going to activate the cyclic GMP dependent kinases and phosphatases. So intracellular receptor or transcription of mRNA system. The receptors of thyroid and steroid hormones and 125 dihydrocholecalciferol and retinoids are located inside the cell. The hormone diffuses through the cell membrane into cytoplasm and combines with the receptor, which is present either in the cytoplasm or in nucleus. The receptor for glucocorticoid is present in the cytoplasm, whereas receptor for thyroxine and steroid hormones are located in the nucleus. So this is the mechanism by which, where the hormone, it is going to cross the cell membrane and attach on the nuclear receptors. Okay, so then it is going to alter the transcription, produces the mRNA, so which is going to lead to the protein synthesis. So that will be seen as the physiological response. The other mechanism of signal generation are activation of tyrosine kinase activation. Some peptide hormones do not require G protein for inducing signal transduction system. The hormone binds with the receptor, which has an intrinsic tyrosine kinase activity, and the receptor has three domains: extracellular, membrane, and intracellular domains. The extracellular domain possesses the binding site for hormone, and the intracellular domain possesses the tyrosine kinase activity. Okay. So this is the mechanism action where the receptor has intrinsic tyrosine kinase activity. It activates the tyrosine kinase mechanism, and that is going to ultimately lead to physiological effect by causing enzyme activation or gene transcription. Calcium colmogulin system. So this system is uh, this is also another transduction system where hormone signal in which the binding of hormone to a receptor on the cell membrane stimulates G protein to activate a specific membrane channel. For example, ligand gated calcium channel, through which the calcium from ECF enters inside the cell, and that is going to exert the physiological effect. Okay, so when hormone binds to the receptor, it is going to activate some of the ligand gated calcium channels, so that causes calcium influx and calcium influx. Okay, so it is going to activate the colmogulin pathway, and that is going to uh, exert the physiological function. Okay, so this is in brief about the introduction to uh, the endocrine system and the mechanism of action of the hormones. Thank you.